Today is Wednesday, February 14th, 2018. My name is Edna Sussman. I'm a reference librarian here at the Half Hollow Hills Community Library. We're interviewing Peter J. Laura, an Army veteran, as part of our Veterans Testimonial Project and in collaboration with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. Thank you so much, Pete, for your service and participating in our project today.
We're happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
It's our honor, truly. Pete, where and when were you born?
I was born September 26, 1948, in Lying In Hospital in New York City.
And who were your parents, or their names, and what did they do?
My dad was John Laura, and my mom was Jean Pouliot Laura. My dad was, at the time, was a roofer. My mom was a homemaker and part-time waitress.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any siblings?
I have two brothers and two sisters. Chronologically, my brother Paul, my brother John, my sister Robin, and my sister Jeannie, none of which served.
They didn't. No. So where are you in the mix?
I'm the oldest.
You're the oldest. So what were you doing before you entered the service?
I was a college student. I had just graduated in June of 71 and entered service in following September.
So you graduated from where?
St. John's University.
Oh, in what?
I have a bachelor's degree in marketing.
Ah. So were you drafted or enlisted, or what happened?
I was one of the fortunate ones to get a winning lottery number in the draft. Oh. My number was 18.
Oh, wow.
So I knew I was going to go at some point, so I enlisted.
That was 71, kind of the end of Vietnam?
No, actually Vietnam didn't officially end until 75, although there was certainly a reduced involvement starting in, I think, 71.
Was there a fear with you and your group of people who were in that low number category of being sent there?
Well, if you got drafted, you had no choice of where you were going. Mm-hmm. So I went and met with the recruiter at the time, and we went over my options, and I opted for a air defense artillery contract, which guaranteed me a minimum of 12 months in Rhode Island.
Oh, so because you got the low number, instead of waiting till you got called in, you enlisted?
I got a draft notice while I was in basic training.
Oh, so you beat it, kind of.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, good. What, did you choose the Army?
Yes.
Why did you choose the Army?
Because they offered me the contract, which guaranteed me 12 months in Rhode Island.
Oh, I see. So how long were you supposed to be in for? 12 months? Or?
3 years. It was a 3-year enlistment.
So there's no guarantee what happened after 12 months?
That's correct. That's how I ended up in Korea.
Ah, okay. So what happened when you departed for training camp after you got the paperwork done?
The recruiter picked me up at dark 30 on whatever morning that was, and took me to Fort Hamilton in Brooklyn, where we did induction, paperwork, and then after that was all done, we got sworn in, and then we all got on buses and went to Fort Dix.
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Was that where the basic training was going to be?
Basic training was in Fort Dix, New Jersey.
And how long did that training last?
That was 12 weeks, I think. Let me see, it was from the end of September. Yeah, 12 weeks.
What was that like? What did you have to learn?
Oh, yeah, they taught you how to be a soldier. You did PT, you went to classes, you did field training, and you did, at the end of the program, there was a test. You actually had to pass the test to graduate and move on.
So that you learned about weaponry and how to use it and all that?
Yes. Well, we were in basic weaponry. Firing the M16 was basically all we fired in basic training. We had some familiarization with other pieces of equipment, but nothing we ever used.
Do you remember your instructors? What were they like?
They were all, for the most part, they were all Vietnam veterans, and they were teaching us what we needed to know to be good soldiers.
Did you get, after you said 12 weeks? Did you get any specialized training after that?
Yes, I was sent to Fort Bliss, Texas for my military occupational specialty, which was Nike Hercules radar crewman.
What was that involved?
They taught us how to read, how to operate the radar and how to do checks and basically what we needed to make the system work.
Now, how did they decide, or you decide you wanted that, or they wanted you for that?
That was part of my contract.
Oh, okay. So you knew ahead of time you were going to be doing
Yes.
this. Why did you have an interest in that?
I only had an interest in being stationed in Rhode Island. I didn't care about what I was doing.
Oh, okay. As long as, and you knew they'd train you to do whatever.
Right.
Okay. I mean, they didn't expect you to have any background in this.
No.
Okay. How was it adapting to military life? The physical regimen, the food, and social life, if any?
But I didn't have any problem but adjusting to it. I'm pretty easygoing, get along with most people. It's just something you had to do.
How long were you in Texas for that training?
8 weeks,
And then they sent you to Rhode Island?
yes.
Was Rhode Island on a base? It was a base?
Yes, it was a small compound with probably 150 officers and enlisted men total.
So you lived there on the base?
Yes.
Okay. How was the food?
The usual Army stuff. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was not so good, and
Okay.
it was dependent on who the cooks were at the time.
Okay. So for 12 months, what did you have to do there in Rhode Island? What were you doing?
We did more training and on the radar equipment and learned how to maintain it. And, we pulled guard duty and things like that. And then we had a thing called a commo watch where 2 people were assigned to work overnight to monitor the radios in case there was an alert or a call up.
Were you always training there too? I mean, just technically always, did you take courses or
Well, I took correspondence courses.
for what?
I took a couple of them for refrigeration, mostly refrigeration and air conditioning. And because that's what I grew up in. My dad had a refrigeration business
Oh.
at the time when I went into the service. So I just kind of continued on with that.
That was through the Army.
Right.
So were they thinking you would, whatever you learned, you could use while you were in the Army?
No, that was something I would use when I got out.
Oh, that was nice.
Yes.
It was through mail?
Yes.
Huh. So after a year in Rhode Island, then what happened?
There was a levy, what they called a levy, and a bunch of us were ordered to Korea.
Uh-huh.
So I was in Rhode Island from June of 72 to June of 73, and then I spent the next 13 months in Korea.
Where did you have to travel in Korea, or you were on a base for the whole 13 months?
No, same place the whole 13 months.
Oh, where was that?
In a town called Sinhung-ni in Korea is on the, I guess you would call it the west coast, north of Kunsan.
South Korea, in South Korea, of
South
course.
Korea.
Yeah. So what was the purpose of you being there?
It was an air defense artillery base. There was 6 air defense artillery bases in Korea. We were one of the 6, and our job was to protect South Korea from North Korean or Chinese air attacks.
Were there ever any issues with people coming too close?
No,
Oh, that's
no.
good.
There were some during one of the Israeli conflicts in the Middle East. They put us all on higher alert, but other than that, we've never had any.
You didn't have to shoot or
No.
fire, whatever.
I've never fired my weapon in anger.
Oh, that's good. What do you mean? So it went off by accident?
No, we had qualifications on it periodically.
Oh, training.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh. How were you close to any? Were you close to the north? Was that the demilitarized zone?
No, we were quite a few miles south. One of my leaves, I did go up to Seoul and saw the DMZ from a distance, but
Oh, yeah.
other than that, I had no interest in being involved with that.
Right, right. When you had leave, did you get leave now and then?
Yeah, but there was no place to go.
Yeah, I was going to say, where would you go?
No, we just stayed.
On the base?
Yeah. We might wander into the local village and,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah, there was a village and there was there was a decent sized, I'll call it a small city called Daecheon, which was about 10 miles away. We would go to periodically just to tour.
Oh, okay. Did the people, were they friendly? Did they speak English?
Some people spoke English, but they were all, for the most part, they were friendly.
Yeah, they liked American soldiers there?
I guess so. I only had experience with the people in the local village, and
Yeah.
since we supported their economy, they were very happy we were there.
Oh, okay, that's good. So, were you injured at all when you were over there?
No.
Anything happen?
No.
What kind of friendships and camaraderie did you form while serving, and with whom?
In basic training, there really wasn't much time to get really overly friendly, make new friends, because you knew after 8 weeks or 12 weeks you'd all be going different directions. And there was same thing when we went to Texas. There was, although everybody was doing the same job or training for the same job, there really wasn't any real great camaraderie. There's a couple guys you'd pal around with, but I never formed any lasting friendships at all, anytime during the military.
Did you, when you first started basic training in New Jersey, did you know any guys there from New York? I mean, you didn't go together with anybody.
I didn't know. Everybody there was from New York or New Jersey or the local
Oh, yeah? Oh,
Northeast, because that was the training for. But no, I didn't know anybody.
and in Rhode Island, how was that as far as maintaining friendships or getting to know people?
You got to know people, and you become friendly with some people, but after 12 months I was gone, and
Yeah.
I never kept contact with anybody who was there.
So nobody else from your Rhode Island unit went with you to Korea?
Oh, there was 6 or 8 of us that came down on the same orders. But when we went to Korea, we all got split up
Oh, really? Oh.
because there was 6 different batteries, and we were just replacements taking place of people who were leaving.
How did you go from Rhode Island to Korea? How did they ship you there?
Airplane. They gave us a ticket, and we flew. No, we didn't. I'm sorry. I had to report to San Francisco,
Oh,
and then they put us on a military air transport.
oh, they did.
Yeah.
Is that how many, like all military people on that?
Yes, and it was a commercial jet, but it was just for, it was what do you call it? It was a military flight.
Uh-huh.
It was purposely just for going to Korea.
Transport soldiers.
Yes,
So how long did that take?
I think it was 18 hours.
Was it direct?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. How was it staying in touch with family and friends? There was no computer email at that point, but
No, there was U.S. mail,
yeah.
and there was a. Excuse me. Because of where we were and what we did, we actually could, with special permission, have a direct telephone link via radio
Oh,
to home, but it was difficult, and it had to be set up.
oh,
And nowadays everybody goes online and they
yeah. Talk
Skype
stuff,
or whatever. We didn't have that.
Yeah. So you said your siblings didn't serve, so you kept in touch with your folks, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was a day like when you were there? I mean, what did you have to do in Korea?
You got up in the morning and you got yourself ready, and you went to breakfast, and then after breakfast there was an inspection, a formation, and then everybody did policing the area. We had to walk. Every platoon had an assigned area, and you had to go pick up cigarette butts and paper.
Are you kidding? Oh, just cleaning up?
Yeah,
Oh.
as my battery commander used to say, if you didn't throw the stuff on the ground, you wouldn't have to go back and pick it up.
That's true. Good point.
But it didn't make any difference. Guys still threw their cigarette
Oh.
butts on the ground.
Did
so.
you smoke at the time? Oh.
It used to bother me to have to go pick them up.
I bet.
Anyway, and then you would, depending on what the day's festivities were, because some days you might have guard duty, or some days you might have comma watch, or...
What's that? Comma?
Comma watch, communications watch.
Oh.
You would just sit in the office and wait for the radio, somebody to call you on the radio or the phone, or... We did have basic phone service there.
Yeah. Were these did you go through drills every day? I mean, just practice?
Sometimes you practice periodically, and you had different, what they call alert statuses, and it had to do with manning the radar equipment.
Oh.
So sometimes you would be on 15-minute notice, and sometimes you'd be on 1 hour notice. What that meant is you had to get a missile ready to fire in 15 minutes, so you had to get a missile ready to fire in an hour.
Oh.
Or you were on maintenance status, which meant you had no defense responsibilities because it was a time where they did maintenance on all the equipment.
Oh. Now, so that was more practice to be ready in 15 minutes or 30 minutes.
Right.
If in a real situation, how much time does it take to get that ready? If you needed it to do it quick?
You still have certain checks you have to perform before you can get ready to fire, besides the fact that the guys who took care of the missiles had to be able to get a missile up and ready to go. You just couldn't push the button.
I guess in a bad situation, you have warning.
Well, yeah, because we were not the primary radar site. There were different... I don't know how many, but there were other constantly monitored radar sites.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So if they found something, then they would push the button and...
Everybody would eventually
Right.
find out what to do.
Right.
Now, what was your rank going in?
When I first started, I was a private E1.
Okay, and then, so you had mentioned before you got promoted a few times. How did-
Right, I got promoted out of basic training to a private E2. I got promoted out of advanced training to a PFC. And then while I was in Rhode Island, I got promoted to a Specialist 4.
Now, why were these promotions done? What's the criteria?
Well, the first three to PFC are automatic.
Oh,
It's just time and grade, and you get an automatic promotion. E4 is a recommendation from the people in charge, and then any advancement above that, you go to promotion board.
oh. Did it matter that you had a college degree?
That gave me points towards a promotion
I see.
above where I was.
I see.
You can get to E4 just by being around. If you wanted to go to E5, which would be Sergeant or Specialist 5, and above, you need to go before promotion board, and then you got so many points for time and grade, so many points for time and service, so many points for education.
I was going to ask, some of the courses you took?
And some of the
counted
courses I
towards
took,
that?
that's education above and beyond my college degree. And you would get so many points for going before the promotion board on your appearance and how you answered their questions,
Oh.
and they would award you points. And then every month or every 3 months, there would be a promotion list put out, and in your particular MOS, if you scored
It's MOS.
above
MOS.
military occupational specialty,
Okay.
if you scored, let's say the cutoff was 500. So if you scored above 500, you would get promoted. If you didn't, then you had to wait till the score dropped to whatever
see.
your number was.
Did any of your promotions come with more responsibility or different job
Yeah,
to
well,
do?
PFCs are just, privates are just workers, and they have no basic responsibilities other than as they're directed. When you get above private, you get to specialist. Now you have a certain level of training, and you get more responsibility. Each promotion gives you more and more responsibility.
So the last level you reached was what?
E4.
E4. So what did that involve with your duties?
That means I was capable of operating on my own with a minimum of supervision as far as my job goes.
Okay. But the duties in being at the radar station in Korea, were you overseeing more people?
I wasn't, my job was not my rank did not involve supervising people.
Oh, I see, okay.
I would be what you would call on the outside like a journeyman, capable of knowing what I was doing without, supervision, without direct supervision.
Okay, good. So, you stayed there 13 months in Korea, and then?
Well, it was a 12-month tour.
Okay.
And the Army had a policy, if you returned to the United States with less than 90 days on your enlistment, they would let you out early.
Oh,
So I extended my Korean tour by 30 days so that at the end of 13 months, I would have put in 2 years, 9 months, and 3 days, which meant I had less than 90 days, so when I came back, I got out.
oh, okay. Did they give you the option to re-up?
Oh, all the time.
Oh, really? Did you? Did you take that option?
Oh, heavens no.
Why?
Well, that wasn't what I wanted to do.
Okay. So what year did you get out?
1974.
74. And how did you return home?
Airplane. I mean,
Military plane?
no, actually, it was kind of funny. I got lucky when they sent us to Seoul to get out, and there's an out process. And while I was there was a whole bunch of us that were scheduled to go on this military air transport flight. But myself and 4 or 5 others got bumped off this flight to make room for prisoners going back to the States.
Prisoners?
Prisoners.
What prisoners?
Well, Army guys that were going to jail.
Our
Yeah,
Army
there's
guys?
screw-ups in the Army.
Oh, I see. Huh. Okay.
And so they gave us tickets on a commercial flight. So we flew commercial
Oh, that's
from
nice.
Seoul to Seattle, and then we flew commercial from Seattle to San Francisco, where we finished our out processing.
Okay, and did that take like a day or so, or you came home right away?
The flight was 21 hours because we had a lot of headwinds.
From Seattle to California?
No, from Seoul to Seattle.
Okay, oh, okay. Yeah.
And then, no, we got there, I don't remember, sometime, I guess in the morning, and by that afternoon we were out.
Ah,
I
okay.
was headed for San Francisco to the airport to fly home.
To New York.
Right.
How were you received by family and community?
Well, I don't know about community, but everybody in the family was happy to see me.
Yeah. How was it readjusting to civilian life?
Actually, I found it no problem at all.
That's good.
It was actually, the atmosphere was obviously a lot more relaxed than what I've been
At
used
that
to.
time, you mean?
But, I hadn't been in a combat zone,
Right.
and there hadn't been anybody shooting at me, and I didn't have to adjust to all that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
My Army service was just an interruption in my normal life, but it wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, well, it's good, but you still sacrificed your time. That was a couple of years onto your life.
Yeah, but as I said in the beginning, I didn't have much choice.
Yeah,
I was going one way or the other.
right. I wonder if you had waited, they would have sent you right off to Nam, you think?
Well, not necessarily. I mean, there are other jobs. I mean, I know guys that got drafted and they went to Germany.
Yeah.
It just depends on what the Army's needs were at the time, determined where you went.
Yeah. Did you remain in contact with any fellow veterans?
For a very short period of time, I stayed in contact with a guy that I became friendly with, but didn't last more than a year.
Are you a member of any veterans organizations?
I am not.
No. So once you got home, this was 74, so then what did you do?
I went to work.
Job-wise, I mean, where did you work?
I actually got a job working for a division of Carrier Corporation, Bryant Air Conditioning, as an inside salesman selling heating and air conditioning equipment.
Oh, did they think because you had a background because of your dad, or how did they?
Well, yeah, actually, it was a friend of my dad's that got me the interview.
And how long did you do that?
3 years.
And then?
I couldn't. it was kind of a dead-end job. There wasn't, while there was a chance for advancement, there wasn't, the opportunities didn't present itself. So I left and went to work, got my tools back out, and went to work at a meat packing facility as a maintenance guy who took care of the refrigeration. I was hired because of my experience in the refrigeration. And I took care of the refrigeration plant and their blast freezers and stuff like that.
How long did you do that?
About a year.
And then?
My dad, by that time, had left his own business, and he was chief engineer for Queens Farms Dairy in Ozone Park. And they also had a plant in Lindenhurst, and they needed another mechanic in Lindenhurst. So through my dad's connection, I got the job in Lindenhurst, where I stayed for 14 years.
Oh, wow. And then?
We were bought out by Tuscan, and Tuscan closed our plant and put us all out on the street.
Tuscan Dairy?
Yeah. Prior to that, I had the chief engineer where I worked was a master electrician, so having worked under him for 14 years, actually, when I hit the 10-year mark, I applied for a master electrician's license and successfully completed the test process and got my master electrician's license.
Nice.
So when Tuscan closed us down and put us out on the street, I just went to work as an electrician in my own business.
Did you have to go to take courses for the license, or no?
No. Most of the stuff I learned was on-the-job training. There are some courses I have taken along the way, but there was not a requirement for any educational.
Were you married at this point? When did you get married?
In 72.
Okay. So, how do you think your military experiences have affected your life? What are some life lessons you might have learned from the military?
Appreciate what you have. And I learned a lot about how other people live and other people think. And being over in Korea, you appreciate the society we live in and
Really?
the standard of living that we have. I mean, the people where I was stationed, and the civilians, they were all farmers, very little education. They lived in mud huts with thatched straw roofs and shared their domiciles with rats and stuff.
So they didn't have schools for the kids, did they?
I really don't know.
Yeah.
I would think they had something, but it was an agrarian economy where I was, and everything was all about the rice paddies.
Huh. Wow.
And back in the mid-'70s when I was over there, they were still very backwards, sanitation-wise and living-wise, and
Wow.
it was an experience.
Did you eat local food when you went off base?
On occasion.
How was that? Was it fish, or what do they eat there?
They ate a lot of fish because they were right by the water.
Yeah.
But they ate things that I would probably never eat.
Really?
Oh yeah, fish heads but they a lot of rice and eggs and some beef. And they had kimchi, which was
Yeah, what is that?
pickled cabbage.
Oh, yeah.
And you had summer kimchi and winter kimchi, and one was hotter than the other.
Spicy hot, you mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And the summer kimchi was stuff they made, but the winter kimchi was stuff they put in these big clay jars and buried them in the ground, and it fermented over the winter. And in the spring they would take it out, and it was
Spicier?
oh yeah, spicier, much spicier.
Oh, did you like it?
No, I couldn't eat the hot stuff. I tried it, but
So I guess Korean food in general is spicy?
no.
No?
Some of it.
Some, okay. Did you, and so you interacted a little bit with the locals when you went off base, when you went into the town?
Well, like I said,
but-
a friend of mine was married to a Korean
Oh,
woman, and
oh.
so we used to go to his hooch, and we used to play cards, and
What did he do for a living there?
he was in the Army.
Oh, he was in the Army, okay. Well, he lived off base,
Yes.
okay. How do you think your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
I still have a favorable outlook on the people that serve, and I think it's actually I don't think it's the worst thing that ever happened to me, and it probably wouldn't be a bad thing for everybody to have to do it.
Yeah.
Because you get, like I say, you get an experience of how other people live, or how even fellow Americans come from different backgrounds in different parts of the country, and they think differently and do things differently.
Yeah.
And
Kind of broadens your
yes,
outlook or knowledge.
yes,
So you had children, right?
Two.
Two boys?
2 boys.
Did they express an interest in serving at all?
No.
No. What message would you like to leave for future generations who might hear this interview?
Oh, I never thought about that one.
Doesn't have to be very profound, just whatever your feelings.
Well, I just think that people need to appreciate what they have, and think about how people in other parts of the world have to live, and we should be appreciative of what we really have here.
That's good.
And don't knock it if you haven't tried it.
Yeah, that's good. Good advice. Is there anything during your service or before or after that we haven't discussed you'd like to share?
No, not really. No, it was just another part of my life, and I moved on when it was over.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. Well, you did.
Sure.
Important to keep things safe. Thanks, Pete, for your service again and for sharing with us.
You're welcome.
Okay.
My pleasure.
Thank you.